Welcome to Center Hice Productions. It is December the 9th, 2023. Please hit the like, send, and subscribe down below in the right-hand corner. I'd muchly appreciate your support, and thank you to my supporters that are assisting me in that area. Please tell your friends and family. We muchly appreciate it. Okay, this is exactly what it says it is. It's a review of tonight's awesome game between the Habs going into Buffalo. What a game. Wow. 3-2 victory for the Habs in overtime, but it was a shootout winner by no other than Uri Slavkovsky. What a game he had. And he was definitely, by far, he was definitely the first star of this game. He had an awesome game all the way through. He got into a fight. What an incredible game. He just was. We were getting pushed around left, right, and center, but he wasn't having it. And for a guy who's not a scrapper, I think it's the first time he's ever fought in his life. He handled himself quite well. So, way to go, Slav. Keep up the good work. Just keep working hard. Don't let it go to your head. Keep up the good work. You had a phenomenal game. And wow, this game had a playoff feeling to it. It really did. Just back and forth. And then, of course, the wheels came off on the Habs in the third period, and we had a 2-0 lead going into the third, and Buffalo gets right back into it. Some sloppy defensive play on our behalf. It cost us. And, interesting game. There are some mentions. We'll get to the stats first. Okay, first period, no scoring. Second period, 2 goals for the Montreal Canadiens, as I said. Third period, 2 goals for the Sabres. Overtime solved nothing. Shootout. We get the overtime winner. We've three goal scorers to their 2, and Slav being the final one to score, getting the winner. It was quite a pretty goal, just using his reach. Hit jammed on the brakes at the last second and had the smarts to use his reach to get around Levi. Both goaltenders played quite well in this game. This was a respectable game. I wouldn't say they were outstanding, but I would say they played pretty good games. No doubt about it. They definitely made some timely saves at times. What I found was they're both half decent. They were both half decent on low shots. That's for certain. And I think that was their blessing. They're very similar. They have, when you look at one, very similar styles. So it was interesting. So here we go. Here's the write-up on the story, the recap write-up. Caden Primo made a career-high 46 saves. That was quite impressive because I'm telling you, the Sabres were coming at him, coming at the Habs left, right, and center, and they were pounding us. They were slamming us. My biggest concern is this. It had a playoff, and we never quit. I'll give us that. That was wise of St. Louis to call the timeout because we needed to settle down. We hung in and kept fighting, which was a good character win by the Habs. But boy, did it ever show how much we need to size up. They were just pulverizing us with the hits. The size was really showing up, of being quite a drastic. If this was a playoff series, as well as we fought hard tonight, we would never stand in a 7-game series because we're so small compared to them. So I think if Hughes and Gordon want to really think about if they want a winning team, they better start sizing this team up. And I'll tell you right now, you better get Jack Guy back on that lineup because we got pushed around all over the ice tonight. It was unbelievable. And when it's Slavkovsky is the guy who comes and shows the grit, that's telling you something. That's pretty sad because to me, Josh Anderson, this is the time when he needs to step up and get the gloves off and start sending a message, seeing some cheap shots, especially a cheap hit on on Caulfield. Those cheap shots by the bench, unbelievable. And even early in the game, I commend Caulfield. He stood up for Slav getting a cheap shot, and they stood up for each other that way. But like I said, Josh knows there's no Jack Eye here. He knows Pizzetta's not in the lineup. That's your job, buddy. You're not doing anything else. And I wasn't impressed with his game, to be quite frank. Um, to start off playing okay in the first period, that's not enough. And then he just tapers off. And then when the going gets tough, where's he at? And, Struble had an all right game. I'll give him that. He scored his first goal. That was great. Um, but where's this toughness? Okay, give you him credit. He's got more grit than Barron and Lindstrom. Okay, I give you that, and probably a bit more than Matheson. Other than that, I'm still waiting. Like this was the perfect night for him to get the gloves off too. I don't see it, so I'm going to tell you this team is missing Jackeye, and they better get him back in the lineup because they need him. The little bit of size we had back there and the little bit of pushback we have on the team, you better get Jackeye back. And I say, Jackeye, work your tush off to get back, because I'll tell you, I hear a lot of podcasters slamming Jackeye. Um, why does he absolutely have to fight in the AHL? Would you let the kid get his mind back together? It's I'm sure it was quite a blow for him to get sent down there. We don't know the details behind it, other than I assume it's to work on his defensive end. I understand that aspect of it. But for the slamming of him, give me a break. I don't blame him for not wanting to drop the gloves the other night immediately. Let him get his game together. Yeah, I'm sure he will. And yes, he'll come. But don't worry, I know. And this is to Jack. I personally, buddy, get it going, because I will not. If any of you betting against Jackeye, you're making a mistake. Remember, this guy was overlooked and earned his way and fought hard to get in the NHL. He will make it back, and he will come back 10 times the player he was. So anybody betting against him, good luck with that, because you see the valuability to the Montreal Canadiens of what he is to them. They need that size and that grit to push back on teams like this, because Sabres totally took advantage of us without Jackeye. They took advantage of this team. I mean, my God, I was worried about Monahan. We lost Pearson with a shot, and but Monahan he got hit hard. Ylonen got hit pretty hard too. We were getting belted left, right, and center, and you seen the hit on Barron, and yeah, that's another story. So yeah, so he made 46 saves, Primo, and Yuri Slafkovsky scored in the fourth round of the shootout to lead the Montreal Canadiens to a 3-2 win against the Buffalo Sabres Saturday night. Primo stopped 2 out of 4 Sabres shooters in the shootout. Jaden Struble and Nick Suzuki scored for the Canadiens. Jeff Skinner, of course, Skinner is Hab Killer. That guy is just so consistent. And Kyle Pozo, wow, he had quite a game. He was quite exceptional. And Devon Levi made 29 saves for the Sabres. So he had a pretty strong game as well. You can't fault him for it. And the Sabres are winless in 6 of 8 games. That's really shocking. They haven't found their groove. They're a better team than what is showing. What I've seen tonight, that team is darn good. However, we're not that, they're only playing us, so I guess we make them look good. The Canadiens got out to a 2-0 lead in the second period when Struble scored a nice goal by Struble when he pinched in. It was a great deflection and a nice tip in. He was very smart on that play. And then Suzuki scored 14 seconds apart with a beautiful goal. Suzuki kept it nice on the low side, far side, to the blocker side, and what a beautiful shot it was. And then Buffalo's Eric Robinson received a 5-minute major for boarding and a game misconduct. And for the hit he put on Barron, and again, it was so. Again, what did I see? I seen Slav right in the middle of that, defending his teammate, and Gooley immediately defending Barron, and that's what you want to see. And again, Gooley came to the rescue, so he also got a penalty as well. So, and that's how that was quite a bit of a scrimmage. But at least these guys were stepping up for each other. But there's just got to be more. The Habs are just too small. Struble deflected a shot. The shot he deflected was from Kovacic past Levi 12:59 during a 4-on-4 and with his first NHL goal, and then Suzuki's goal came at 13:13 during the power play when he wired a shot past Levi. Skinner made it 2-1, which we're not surprised. At 1:06 of the third period, Tage Thompson set him up in the slot, and he snapped it. He wasted no time snapping it past Primo for his 12th of the season. Opposo made it 2-2 at 6:36 when he buried a rebound of Connor Clifton. The goal was Opposo's 600th NHL point. Canadiens forward Tanner Pearson left the game with an upper body injury. It looked like he took a shot in the hand, to tell you the truth. That's what it looked like. So that's what I assumed, but he's probably got a broken hand, broken finger, something broken, because he left the game right after that, early on, after the first period, and did not return. Sabres defenseman Rasmus Dahlin, returned to the lineup after a one-game absence. Dahlin did not play Thursday night in the Sabres' 3-1 win against the Boston Bruins due to a nagging disclosed injury. Canadiens host Nashville tomorrow night. Can you imagine back-to-backs? I don't like that one. Don't expect much from that. But we don't seem to fare well in back-to-backs, and Nashville seems to have our number. Sabres host Arizona on Monday night. So, first star of the game, they gave it to, I think it should have been Slav. However, they gave it to Primo, and, I can live with that. 46 saves, 2 goals against, 0.958. That was a good performance on his behalf. Why are they not showing the other 2 stars? Okay. That's really weird. That's really strange. They did not show who the... Wow, that is amazing. I'm really shocked that they didn't show who the 3 stars were. They're only, on this write-up, they're only showing Primo. They didn't show who the other 2 stars were, so I don't really know from Sportsnet. So that's pretty sad. But anyway, it was a great game. Then the gloves came off of there, and for major fighting in the third period with Clifton and Slavkovsky. I was so proud of this kid, the way he took that battle on, and he did not back down, and he stayed with it. And it looked like he was going to get his head knocked off, but he stayed with it, and then he ended up taking Clifton down. So he handled himself quite well for a 19-year-old. I was quite proud of him. Way to go, Slav. For all the crap this player's taken from the fans, you should be cheering this guy on. And Slav, you just keep your head in the right place and don't let it blow up your head. You had a great game. You were the best player out there tonight for the Habs. No Anderson buts. But just keep your head on and keep working hard because it's paying off. It's showing. And what a goal he had in that shootout. Like I say, Caulfield finally buried one for us. Ylonen, wow, he's just becoming He's deadly in the shootouts. Thank God he's played like a musician. And that's kind of what we had with Suzuki too. But Suzuki got poke checked on his shot. But I really thought this game was going to go to Buffalo because they were just hammering us left, right, and center. But with the goals that came um, with, oh, sorry, with the goals coming back when they caught up to us, Barron, this has got to stop. You're going to tell me, and I mean, I know Barron's game's improved a lot on the offensive side, and he's gotten a little grittier, but he's always making major mistakes that cost big time goals against us. This has got to stop. He just makes one too many plays with it and toys it either a errant pass or he trips over his feet or holds on to the puck just 1 second too long and gets it taken away. Like tonight is just beyond me. So to me, how you're gonna keep Jack Eye down in the AHL when there's a couple better candidates. Same with Lidstrom. I wasn't overly impressed with his game. Matheson made some mistakes too defensively. However, Struble had an okay game, but it was not outstanding. I mean, he gets a goal, but then he was responsible for a goal too. I think it was him on the first goal, and then it was the second goal was on Barron. So and it's a shame because it affects Gooley when Barron makes a mistake like that because he's on the ice with him as his partner. So it reflects badly on Gooley. And Gooley was trying to he stood up for his teammates, but he was getting knocked around himself. So it was quite a performance. But like I say, a lot of hurt from Gooley, a lot of hurt from Caulfield being a little man. But Slav's heart was beyond tonight. He was doing everything right. Yeah, fighting for the puck, winning the battles, not backing down. He had several great chances. He set up a couple nice shots. He was just all over the place, and he played well. I think that for me, and he does recover the puck in Montreal's end. I just wish he'd do a little more in Montreal's when he's in his own zone. However, he does seem to manage always to get the puck on his stick, but I can't knock him. He was the best player by far out there tonight, and like I said, Struble had a nice goal, played a good game. I'd say this was the best game I've seen Struble play. I still say, where's this? I'm waiting. This was the perfect opportunity to show us your toughness, and this was when the Habs needed it, and you didn't do a damn thing about it. So between Struble and Anderson, these are the two that should be dropping the gloves immediately when you get Kovacevic being the only guy ready to do that, and Slavkovsky and Gooley, the only ones willing to go. That's not great. And now, of course, Galley will stand up for his teammates. I kind of liked the shots he took at Skinner when we got that penalty, which we carried into the overtime. So it was quite. I just think it was a message, but he's got to be careful with that because a lot of other referees would have called another penalty and we would have had a 5-1-3 against us, and they probably would have won it in overtime because we were killing the rest of that penalty. Who was that on? I want to say it was on Gould. However, again, it was a well-played game by the Habs. They should hang their heads up high. They fought hard for this one, like they were getting pulverized in the third period. There's no doubt. Like Buffalo really started taking it to us, and the size difference really showed. But good game overall. I can't say it was an exceptional. There we go. Now they're showing it. Finally, the 3 stars. So it was Primo with the first star. I told you his stats. Levi was the second star with 29 saves, 2 goals against, with 0.935, and Jeff Skinner was the third star. Okay, he had a good game, and he always does against Montreal, but Slavkovsky should have been the first star. So I don't get that whatsoever. And yeah, so Thompson, I'm just trying to see who had that penalty. They're not showing. Where are the penalties? Here we go. Stats: 31 shots to 48 for the Sabres. Hits 10 to 17. Seemed like more than that. So I sometimes wonder who's writing up these numbers, because it looked like the Habs were getting belted left, right, and center. So it says 17 to 10. I don't agree. Face-offs 30 to 23 in favor of the Habs. One power play goal, which was nice to see, out of 4 for the Habs. 0 for 5 for the Sabres. So we did quite well with the penalty kill. 17 penalty minutes to their 24 giveaways. 3 for the Habs, 7 for the Sabres. Takeaways: 3 for the Habs, 6 for the Sabres. They were getting the puck from us a lot. Block shots, we did a little better in that department than the Sabres, 15-9. Penalties, yes. Kovacevic had a penalty at first period, 9:44. Caden Primo also, yeah, that was funny too, because he took a tripping penalty that was served by Yolonen. Then at 16:40, Caden Gooley, he had the 2 minutes for tripping. Second period, Samuelson took a penalty for interference, and Caden Gooley took 2 minutes for roughing. Eric Robinson, and that's where we capitalized on our 2 goals. Took 5-minute major for boarding, and game misconduct. And Eric Robinson, same thing, misconduct. Yeah, that just explains that. Gustav Lidstrom, 17-13 for holding. Third period, Tage Thompson got a penalty. Yuri Slavkovsky for fighting. That was so funny to see against Connor Clifton. So that quite a tough guy he took on there for his fighting. I was very proud of him. And then, yes, it was Dvorak who took that tripping penalty, and then in the third period, which carried over into the overtime. So, interesting game. We played well, but we were outplayed too. I mean, they really took it to us, and we keep getting outshot. Like, it's just unbelievable that this carries on from game to game. 48 shots in total against us. Like, man, we got to get a grip on that. Yes, we had a half decent amount of shots, 31, but that's still. So yeah, here's the order of the shooters too. Where is that? I can give you that. Order of the shooters. Okay, shootout. Tage Thompson, he was stopped by Primo. Suzuki was stopped. Olofsson scored for the Sabres. Caulfield scored to keep us alive. Owen Power scored a goal that just was the weirdest goal, the way he held on to it. And then you thank God for Yolonen keeping us alive. Then Peterka, Primo stopped, and then Slav scored. So that's how it ended. And that was just a great game. Really, like I said, this game was quite spectacular. A good win by the Habs. Again, it had a playoff feel to it, but I tell you, like I say, it also rang off alarms for me, because the size was really showing up, being a difference. We got to get some big bodies in there. We need Jack-Eye, and that's why Jack-Eye is so valuable to his team. Yes, I get that he got a little bit of work on his defensive skills. He's not the worst defenseman out there by any stretch of the imagination, so there's a couple other guys that could be going down before he goes down. He's much needed on this Habs team. The only thing he had to do is learn when to retaliate. That's really keep his composure, and then let him keep working on his defensive skills. But for people to slam him, I'll bet the money. I would never bet against a guy who got into the NHL with the hard work that man's put in. He'll be back, and you prove him wrong there, Jack Eye, because come back stronger than ever. You only got a little bit of fine tuning to do. You work this hard to get to the pros, you can do it. So prove them wrong. And for you clowns taking, wanting to shoot him down, man, he was devastated. Okay, now he's just got to learn to ignore, like the stuff that comes out of George Laroque, who I know is passionate, but is might not. He might be. Um, it's not the proper way to handle it. And I just hope that Jack Eye doesn't just let that overtake his thought process, because Jack Eye can do this. They just want him to fix his defensive skills. And I mean, you can't tell me that Struvel's a replacement for him. Yes, he plays a good. This was his better game, although he still made a mistake. He cost us a goal. The way he handled that 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 first play, that was on him. Um, and then of course, Barron, same thing. So for me, there's no way you can keep a man like Jack Eye out of this lineup. We need him too desperately, and we better start thinking in this draft or in the trades of really starting to size up, because the talent we got down below is far too small. If they're all going to come up eventually, there's no way we can keep them all. The majority of them are small. It might work to be able to use them in trades because there is some talent, and when they're spread out in the league, that's a different story. But you can't have that all on one team. We already got a lot of small guys, so I'm very concerned with the future in that regard. From here on in, we really got to start sizing up, and I hope Pearson's injury is not long term here, because he was playing quite well. And another guy unspoken, Armia had a really good game as well. He had a pretty darn solid game. I got to give him credit when you got to give him credit, right? That's the catch. Um, Matheson had a good game. Uli had an okay game. Kovacevic had an okay game. And Struble had an okay game. However, like I said, to me, Barron and Lidstrom were the weakest points on defense tonight. Although Struble had a couple moments, just not as many as those two. So, I mean, not to say that Struble has to be the guy to go down, but I can see a couple of other guys being well before him, or well before Jack Eye. That should be going down for fine tuning. They just don't bring enough. We need that size, because these mistakes that they're making just seem to be happening every game, and that the size is not helping them. And I think that's the one too many plays with playing with the puck a little too much or trying to be fancy bites us in the butt that way. So great game overall. We got the Predators tomorrow. To expect a loss there. Back-to-backs, we don't do well. We go back to Montreal. Well, I was very proud of them tonight, and Slavkovsky from big time, and Primo had a good, solid game. I mean, a pretty damn good game. He's, like I said, these two goaltenders are really very, very similar. So I wouldn't be making a trade. That's why I said all along, I wouldn't be trading for Levi, because I think he's pretty much the same level as Primo. So anyway, but they both did play well. I'll give them both that much. So thank you for joining me. Where's the Puck Drop first? Here at Center Ice Production. And we will catch you in the next episode after the Preds game. But then there was also comments made in a couple of these podcasters that, you're trying to bury Jack Eye in your comments, and you're saying Hudson, Enstrom, that there's like 5 guys ahead of him, of Jack Eye. First of all, who said Struvel's ahead of Jack Eye? He's playing steady, but there's Lidstrom and Barron. They're not ahead of Jack Eye overall. There's a offensive side of Barron's game that's productive, but other than that, And then who's Enstrom and Hudson? You can't even say anything about because you got to see if it translates in the NHL. So it's just dumb comments. And all I can say is, "Go Jack, I go." Keep your head on.